Hey guys, I'm here with Lysmith, the semi-auto Psyker. We're going to go over a few of his talents, his tricks, his tips. We have a great sword, Vigilant auto rifle, and our space knives, which I usually like to call these the shards, right? So let's go into we're already in the Psykerium, so let's check this out. First we'll start off with the Blaze Force Greatsword, Covenant Mark 8. For lack of a better term, like I said this all the time, warps resistance is the dump stat, but I think you could probably make some kind of weird weapon if you really wanted to play around with it a lot. Flak on armor and unyielding for bosses, and flak because it's the most common armor type on the perks. And then we have shred, so critical chance on chain hit, stacks 5 times. It has a really wide strike, and it has a really nice strike down heavy melee. Really useful tool. And then unstable power, just because your heat fluctuates so much that power will generate pretty quickly. And then we come down here to the Vigilant Autogun. I have the Columnus Mark III. It's a really nice precision kind of target weapon, and it hits heads very easily. And it actually can do a lot of damage to bosses as well if you can manage to clip them in the head if they do have a weak spot. So on that we have unyielding and flak, same as the other weapon too. Just most common damage type and bosses. And it does actually affect some few other things too. So on that rifle we have Crucian Relay, just to have that critical strike up, just because it's got a big clip. So when you're shooting that thing, 46 rounds, that does stack up pretty big. And then Deadly Accurate, just for extra weak spot damage, because that's kind of what I use this tool for, is for like poking people in the heads. And so I recently went through and redid a lot of my curios for almost all my characters. I got rid of toughness regeneration. I was looking up on that last night, and it kind of seems like that doesn't do as much unless it's for very specific niche builds. And I switched them up and tried most of my characters, and I didn't notice much of a difference. So yeah, I wasn't really getting hurt either way. So it doesn't really matter what you want to do, but give it a try, see how it goes for you. So we have toughness in all 3 curios. And then usually a combat ability generation, that's always standard. Toughness %, and then revive speed on that one. Then we also have damage resistant gunners, and then also combat ability generation, damage resistance, and toughness as well. So that kind of covers just the main stuff right here. Let's go into the tree real quick. So we kind of come down over here, and then we'll go over to the right, and then go back over to the left to kind of keep all our stuff. But we start off with metal. Critical hits replenish toughness over 4 seconds. That's just solid. Also give you movement speed, which is really fun. I love that. Quietude, so you're essentially, when you generate or quell, you get more peril. Battle meditation, that's key because it's going to reduce down your heat. It's going to quell for you when you're killing in a field, especially with that sword and its wide sweep, and then strike down. That's going to help a lot. Come over here to assail, and taking assail is pretty much ammo mitigation for me. It does the same thing the rifle does, and there is a throw pattern to this thing. If you can throw this properly, and I've seen a few people do it right, you can start hitting targets, or like it's interesting. There is a flight path to it, and there is a way of functionally getting it to move really well, kind of like aiming a weapon, I think. I could be wrong. You give it a try. But with that, we take ethereal shards to make sure we pierce targets. And then we kind of come down in the middle and grab some melee talent. So like lightning speed gives us extra attack speed. And then warp splitting as well, so it gives us cleave. So that's just going to help that wide, broad sweep, right? Seer's Presence, just because I like cooldown reduction. And I always need my abilities up and ready to go. Psykinetic Swirl also helps everybody else for regeneration. That's really fun. And these 3 talents right here, one with the warps that gives us toughness damage reduction, Anticipation, which gives dodge duration, increases the amount of dodge, and then also Empathic Invasion. All of those are very solid. I'll take those on every Psyker I have. Very, very fun to have. So we go over to Scrier's Gaze. I'm not going to go too much into that because it's a whole bunch of text, but you can read it and figure out what it does. But then I took Precognition to up the bonus on that a little bit more too. Then we also come down here to True Aim. So those space knives, what I'm saying, the shards, when those hit, they hit heads. And that will stack that up for your next range attack. So your range attack, your rifle, will be the next shot you do, will be a critical strike. And that can be pretty deadly, especially when your heat is high. And I'll show you why for this just a second. Warp Rider, so you're dealing more damage based off your peril. That's what you're going to be doing with Scrier's Gaze. Then you're going to go over to Solidity. I just really think this one's good because you don't really have a staff, so that's really going to help a lot of problems with that. Penetration of the Soul, so up to rending on warp attacks based on your peril. So the Force Sword does count as a warp attack, and that is just really nice to have. Warp Siphon, I could go over all the reasons why I think this is really good, but it really just gets your combat ability back and builds up damage for you. Essence Harvest, just because you're replenishing toughness over 5 seconds when you gain a charge, it's just solid. I could have Inner Tranquility, that just depends. I don't tend to burn out too often, so it's not a huge deal. Warp Battery, so we can store more warp charges, and then essentially whenever an ally in conspiracy kills an enemy, you have a chance to generate a warp charge. And that's just to have, I mean, we could have Fire Reborn, but we don't have any fire talent, so there's really no reason for us to be taking that. And I have a couple different builds with him, usually not too many different. There's one I really love called the Smite Revolver, which is this one right here. But we'll go over that one some other time. So that's the skill tree. So we kind of start up here, move over, take a sail, go over to Scrier's Gaze, and shift all the way over to the left. Not too bad at all. So we'll kind of go over a few of his talents. So let's just kind of go over the Vigilant's pretty self-explanatory. It's going to build that crit up with the more and more you shoot. It's just a really precise weapon, really good for hitting heads. If you want to take a few more defense talents, you could easily take Ghost, which gives you immunity range attacks. That can really be good. That can be really solid. I would probably have to end up taking that if it would be higher difficulties, right? Because that's going to be more of a defensive trait. But we got that going. Shards are pretty self-explanatory as well. Throw. But then you can also see that we have that stacking. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're at that crit strike range. And that will be an automatic strike for the next couple rounds they shoot out of your gun. And this is the one thing I've noticed a little bit with the shards. You can get down, you can duck. These things go around corners. They're really good at hitting targets that aren't at a like line-to-line sight, right? They're really good at kind of throwing in weird areas. And that's what I like about them. That's why I like these weapons, because they can hit things around corners. Say you have a guy that ducks around, you can throw it and it will traverse and hit him. It also staggers a little bit, right? It just staggers enough. Just enough to get somebody to stop throwing a bomb, get them to drop a bomb, get them to stop throwing a net. It's just enough to get them to stop, right? And that's just really fun to have. And then, in general, the Force Sword, really fun to use. I really like this one. I use it for a lot of different things. It can one-shot mutants if you hit them in the side with the normal blade. That was close. That came real close. If I was higher heat, it probably would have one-shot that guy. The attacks, pretty good downstrike there. That's the heavy attack right there. You can see how that really messes them up. Just aim for heads and keep swinging. I've noticed some people have problems with melee Psyker. I don't usually have too many problems with it. And then using this to either push people back, generate heat, and or do a really good strike, because it can really hit things really well. If you can manage to clip it with, the closer you get to that blade, the more damage it's going to do. It also pushes everybody back. Yeah, I don't want you next to my people, right? And that counts as a warp attack too. So, and then one of a notice, the push block, very good too. See that? That stab. Ooh, that's so nice. See that? That lunge is very good, and that's the reason I really like that. I don't tend to use that as much as the overhand, just because it takes more work, but it can really mess things up if you manage to stack a couple things. And the Scrier's Gaze, I pretty much wait until I hit 100% and just go kind of nuts. Like, it buffs you in ways that not very many else things can. And I'm just generating charge as much as I can, right? See, just tons of fun. And then it's already back. By the time I get it already set back, it's ready to go. Some of the problem areas you're going to notice is trying to hit guys with carapace in the head. There aren't a lot of weapons that will do real well with that, but when your heat and rending are built up, you're going to do some damage, right? You're going to do some real fun damage. So that's my Lysmith semi-automatic. Wasn't too long, about 10 minutes there. Just a kind of a quick breakdown. Like I said about the curios, I'm learning stuff all the time. I really do appreciate any comments or updates, but I've tested these things on a Damnation, and I can carry groups very easily. Even if that does affect me or if things are not optimized in the right way, try something out and see how you like it, right? I'm not going to try to prevent anybody from trying something new. I love seeing people trial things out. And like I posted on YouTube, anybody that likes, subscribes, watches, comments, that stuff is amazing for me. And just, it helps every step, right? I really appreciate all you guys. I'm looking forward to doing the game tonight with Demio. We're going to be teaming up with Apothecary Pagan. I think we're going to be doing a desert kind of vibe. I don't know what kind of characters we're going to be using, but that's what we're going to be doing. And I think that's about it. And I'll post another couple polls to see if you guys want to see any few other ones. Other than that, I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for being here. And I'm going to pop off real quick, but you guys have a nice day. Talk to you later, okay?